The further away I am from the human race, the better I feel. Even though I write about the human race, the further away I am from them, the better I feel. 2 inches is great, 2 miles is great, 2,000 miles is beautiful, as long as I'm able to eat. They feed me because I feed them, but I don't like to be near them. When somebody even brushes against me with an elbow in a crowd, I react. I do not like the human race. I don't like their heads, I don't like their faces, I don't like their feet, I don't like their conversations, I don't like their hairdos, I don't like their automobiles, I don't like their dogs or their cats or their roses.
This was the front door, and the one party he came to, he and Linda came through the front door. Everybody had been sort of excited at the notion that Charles Bukowski was coming to the party that they were coming to. I sort of, felt very comfortable, just as his friend when I was with him, but the rest of the time I was a fan. He comes, spends about 2 minutes on his drink before he decides he's just going to prowl around this room and steal everybody else's drink. So now he's stealing other drinks. This was always the mode whenever you did go out with him somewhere, or some circumstance where he wasn't just at home, is the wine was no more the drink. Now it was mix everything and die. My mother decides she's going to dance with him, and she says to him what becomes that, which was the moment he decided he liked her. She says, "You know, Hank, you're the biggest phony in the world." So now he has a great affection for her. They start to dance. My mother's Irish-Italian. She likes to drink too, and it's going. My dad's got a Cheshire smile on a little pew bench we had over there watching the whole thing. And now the pants are coming out. He's trying to take my mother's clothes off. My mother's, at this point, in her late 60s. And everybody is sitting back and saying, this is what he's supposed to do. It was the first time that they'd actually seen a legend behave like his legend. He criticized my fountain, which was there, just saying it was ugly or something like this. Came out, back in the living room, he's looking around and said, "Let's get the f*** out of here." So now he's said his exit line and goes out. She comes back in, gets me because he needs to be helped into the car. So we're lifting him into the car out here. It's about a 20-minute project. So we finally get him into the car, and Linda again thanks us, and they drive away. I go in. This is his affection for you, and sort of not apologizing exactly, but explaining. And then back in comes Hank, and he says, "Wonderful party." Goes, gets himself right into the car, and they go.
The man at the piano plays a song he didn't write, sings words that aren't his, upon a piano he doesn't own. While people at tables eat, drink, and talk, the man at the piano finishes to no applause, then begins to play a new song he didn't write, begins to sing words that aren't his upon a piano that isn't his. As the people at the tables continue to eat, drink, and talk, when he finishes to no applause, he announces over the mic that he is going to take a 10-minute break. He goes back to the men's room, enters a toilet booth, bolts the door, sits down, pulls out a joint, lights up. He's glad he's not at the piano. And the people at the tables eating, drinking, and talking are glad he isn't there either. This is the way it goes almost everywhere with everybody and everything. As fiercely in the hinterlands, the black swan burns.
It's very hard to estimate how many Bukowski books have been printed and sold. Black Sparrow has published and has in print now 24 books. I would guess that all of his sales together would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 million. I think Bukowski was born knowing that he was a genius. When he writes about his childhood very emotionally and very powerfully in a book called Ham on Rye, and even the title is a wonderful pun on a number of things. Of course, it's the quintessential American sandwich that the working man takes in his lunch pail, ham on rye bread. But then a ham actor on rye whiskey is often out of control and often funnier and even grander than he might be otherwise. And he writes about his childhood in such a way that you just knew he felt he had a destiny.
I had to cut his grass once a week, once lengthwise, then crosswise, then trim the edges with shears. And if I missed one blade of grass anywhere on the front or back lawns, he beat the living shit hell out of me. After the beating, I would have to go out and water the lawns. Meanwhile, the other kids were playing baseball or football and growing up to be normal humans. The big moment would always come when the old man would stretch out on the lawn and put his eye level with the grass blades. He'd always manage to find one. "There, I see it. You missed one. You missed one." Then he'd yell toward the bathroom window where my mother, a fine German lady, always stood about this time of the proceedings. "He missed one. I see it. I see it." Then I'd hear my mother's voice. "Ah, he missed one. Ah, shame, shame." I do believe that she blamed me for her troubles, too. "Into the bathroom," he'd scream. "Into the bathroom."
Well, this is a torture chamber. This is where I learned something. The old man had a razor strap. He used to hang here and he'd just pick it off. Drop your pants and your shorts. I would stand about here and he would begin. And I don't know how many lashes he'd give me. They'd be hard. 8, 10, 12, 14. And of course you can't help screaming, especially when you're 6 years old, 7 years old. As I got around to be about 10 or 11 or 12, I screamed less. In fact, the last beating I got, I didn't scream at all. I just didn't make a sound. And I guess that terrorized him because that was the last one when I didn't make a sound. So this place holds some memories, all right. I don't know, it's just a terrible place to stand and talk about it. Really don't want to talk about it too much. Let's forget it, okay? You're a small creature and you have a large creature beating upon you, and the mother says, okay, this sounds very tearful and like I'm weeping for mercy or something. But at that time, it's very, very difficult because there's no place to go. There's nothing you can do. But as we said earlier, and as I've said other times, I think my father taught me how to write.